Hi, in this video we'll be continuing with the C# tutorials. So we'll be going over a value returning function lab or value returning method. So I have this form set up. So there's three. I think I messed this up. Is that a label? No, okay. This is a text box. Okay, I can't tell what it is. I might have to redo these actually. Let me see what this is. Okay, so we have age 1 text box. So this one's called age 1 text box. I have to check if it's actually a text box. So let me try to reference it here. If the keyboard would work, then we could see. Okay, so age 1 text box is a text box. Age 2 text box is also a text box. Okay, perfect. So we have age 1 text box, age 2 text box. I don't think you can see that actually. So it's up there in the top left corner. Age 1 text box. And I have an age 2 text box. Then I have a label here that's called combined age label. Then these three labels don't have any identifiers. Then I have a calculate button called calculate button. I could have set this up just completely 100% by coding it. The problem is it's going to need a layout. I'm going to have to add rows and columns, so it's going to take long. What we do, we will do a full lab on the layouts coming up. So far I've kind of been doing bits and pieces of creating those objects, so just to start getting you guys, helping you guys understand how that works. So we could have done everything just by coding it, but the problem is we'll have to test it. We'll basically have to add at least 2 columns and 4 different rows. You have to add each of those. It's a lot of code to do it. Doesn't make it too easy. C# doesn't make it too easy to do everything automatically, but like by coding I mean. But it is doable, and we'll do a full example coming up. Otherwise we'll start to slowly get into objects and stuff. Okay, so now let's do the code. So first we'll have a method called private int sum. So we can just get into that. Come down underneath if the keyboard would work again. Writer glitches out quite a bit. But it's not too bad. It's just what I do is I click my Windows button on the bottom left, then I click back on writer and it seems to work. Some kind of glitch though. I don't think it's just my PC, because it's nothing to do with, I've never seen that happen in other programs, not even IntelliJ or PyCharm. Often JetBrains software that is in a community edition has like glitches in it, because the community forum catches every other glitch. But there's probably a smaller community, like it's not a free edition, you have to have a student email to get it. So there are a lot of less users use it. Some people don't even know about the student email thing. I was lucky to figure that out, but if you do have questions about the software, you can just find them on the Facebook, JetBrains, and they'll reply to you within 24 hours. They love me. They know me personally because I ask so many questions. They're like, oh, I remember you. You're the one with all the dumb questions. That's what they probably said to me. Anyways, they encourage you to ask questions. They said thanks for asking and thanks for using our software. So naturally I'm friends with the JetBrains team, of course. They created Kotlin and Android Studio. And a bunch of other stuff, obviously. Okay, so I think they actually have a new language called, I don't know what it's called. Did they create Go? Maybe not. Actually, I don't know if they created Go, but they're coming out with new stuff, so check them out. Anyways, we have here private, so we'll have a private method here, private int sum. Then we'll have int num and int num2. So we have two ints in parameters. Then here we'll just say return num1 plus num2. I have two num2s, okay. There we go, so that's it. So the sum method accepts two int arguments. Well, pretty much it accepts the, I guess that's the correct way to term it, but the sum method definition takes two parameters. In this case it's, so when you actually do the method call, you input two ints and it returns those ints added together. What else do we have to do here? So we have to do a calculate button underscore click, and that's it. So let's do that. Generate the event handler in code. So I'll show you guys how to do that. We'll have to do it in the constructor here, so we'll have to say calculate button plus, actually no, calculate button dot click, I think, plus equals new event handler. Then we'll say calculate button underscore click. Wonder if that'll do it. Let me check if I got that right. Let me check some other notes here. Apologize, where did those go? Okay. So we have calculate button dot click plus equals new event handler. Then we want to call it calculate button underscore click. So that's correct. That should be correct. Then we just have to go under here. Then we say private void calculate button underscore click takes parameter object sender and event args e, and that's it. We don't need to, we could have just double clicked it, the calculate button. What, obviously that was cooler to do, it was easy. We set up the click event with the calculate button like that. We just have to call the dot operator, reference our calculate button that we already have in the design window. It was able to pick that up nicely in the IDE. So then we reference it, we reference the dot click event. We tagged on that symbol, I forgot what it's called, plus equals a new event handler. Then wrote the method, the event handler name that we want to call, the event handler name. Then here we just tag on private void because it's private and it returns void. Then we just add the two parameters, object sender and event args e, and that's it. So you can impress your professor by doing that. They didn't even teach me how to do that in my class. They usually do. Perhaps it was just a kind of, they didn't want to spend too much time on it, or didn't have too much time, because I took this class with Python together, so it was a pretty big class. But yeah, that's how you do it. So if you do that, you'll impress your professor or whatever. Okay, so then now we'll do we'll declare some local variables. So int user age, friend age, and combined age. So some local variables here. So int user age, comma, friend age, comma, combined age. So those are all ints. And here we'll say if int dot try parse. So we're going to try to pass the string as an int. So then we're going to reference our age1 text box. Okay, yeah, so we do reference the text box that we created in the design window, so age1 textbox.text. Then we're going to say, okay, we want that, and then we want we have to call the out keyword and then friend age. So it's going to try to pass, remember this, so it's going to try to pass, that's how I remember it, try parse, so try to pass the age1 text box dot text as an int. So it's going to try to pass a string as an int. If it's successful, the value should be stored in the friend age variable, and they use the out keyword. Why is that semicolon so far? Okay. Now that's an if. Oh, whoops! It didn't need an if. That's why. Okay, so then that's an if. So if it's a boolean, it's going to return true or false, I think. Or it's going to return a value. Yeah, I think it returns true or false. If it works, the value gets stored in friend age. I think if it doesn't work, this value stores -1. I believe, I forgot. We did go over it in the notes a while ago, though. If you want to know more about this method, you can check out the C# playlist. You can always watch everything from scratch. That's because I explain everything little by little. Okay, so now we have combined age points to sum. Then we're passing in user age, comma, friend age. So it takes 2 parameters. Then we say, below that we'll say combined age label dot text points to combined age dot toString. So we're going to set the label back to a string after we convert the data from a string to an int, then back to a string. Why do we have so many if and else's? Okay. I think I messed this up. So if int dot try parse. Oh wow, okay, sorry. I messed this up completely. If int dot try parse age1 textbox docs text, comma out user age. There's a nested try parse here. Then we say, let's just delete this. I'm getting confused here. So here we'll have that, then we'll have an if here again. If, then int dot try parse h2 text box dot text, comma, out friend age. Then we'll finally say what we had before, so then combined age points to sum, user age, comma, friend age. And here we'll have combined age label dot text points to combined age dot toString. Done. Then we'll have an else here. So here we'll have a message box dot show, and then we'll say here enter an integer for your age. So you just enter like 100 or something for your age, because you're obviously 100. So down here, so message box dot show enter an integer for your age. Then below that, we'll go under the if. We'll add another else here. Then here we'll say message box dot show again. Whoops. Is that a comma? Okay, there we go. Message box dot show, and then enter an integer for your age. with the string. Literal. So enter, whoops, integer for your age. There we go. Just 2 message boxes like that. That's it. Okay. So what's exactly happening here? Upon, where's the sum? Why aren't we using sum? Nope, that was right. Okay, so combined age points of sum, passing in user age comma friend age, and under that combined age label.text points to combined age.toString. Okay, so that should be all correct. We'll save that and run it. You won't be able to see it, but I'll explain what's happening. Let's just go to the design window then, so I can explain what's going to happen. Okay, so this window is going to pop up that you see on the screen. Enter your age. My age is 12. My best friend, I don't know, had a best friend, don't have a best friend anymore. That's a long story. Maybe if I did it, let's just say my cat's my best friend, so let's just go with my cat is gonna be, so 17, she's 17. Enter your combined age, 12 plus 17 is 29, so everything works. That's it. That's, so that's what's gonna happen. So I don't think you can see that, but let me close that. So enter your age, I entered 12, enter your best friend's age, so let's say 17. So your combined age is 29. So that's it. That's a value returning function. That's all it is. We've used it several times. But this private int sum method returns an int because it takes an int. Actually, no, sorry. So private int sum, it returns an int because instead of void here we put the type, so we could say it returns a string, it returns a double, returns a decimal, returns an int in this case. You could have a like a custom type you could create. We'll get into that later on. But in this case we say we want to return num1 plus num2, so num1 and num2 are both ints, so the return type is satisfied. So you can go here, I want to return the string, or you can return a double. It has to match the type of the method. So that's pretty much everything for this section. So thanks for watching, guys. If you guys liked the video, you can like and subscribe to support the channel for more programming and investing tutorials. So in the next one we'll be probably continuing with a little bit more value returning methods. We'll probably be doing another lab, and then after that we're pretty much done. Actually no, we'll have a little bit of Boolean methods. Okay, so then another lab. What else we got here? Returning a string. Okay, so another lab. Good practice. So then finally we're done. So with this chapter. So what's in the next chapter? In the next chapter we have arrays and lists. So it's a good chapter. So we'll have a list, arrays, lists, so arrays and lists, array lists if C# has one. We'll get into all that. It's a little confusing, but it'll be good practice. How long is this chapter? I assume it's going to be long. And okay, quite a bit. It's quite long. A little backtrack here because I was sick for a week. Almost a week. Haven't got sick since 2019. Okay, so jagged arrays. Okay, so that's something different to C#. That's new. So there's quite a bit in this chapter. Then when we're done with that, we'll have a little bit more processing data. So a small chapter, perhaps on a little bit on structures and enums, enumerated types, which you'll see. You also use those in MQL5, so that's good practice. Arrays are always good practice. Makes you an expert in all that stuff, which is good. Okay, so we have some structures and enums. Well, that's quite a long chapter itself. Okay, so after that, classes and multi-form projects. Okay, so classes, we'll talk a little bit about classes, whatever else I just said, and what else we got here? Okay. Inheritance and polymorphism. I think that's the second last thing. I think then we have databases. So yeah, so that's everything. So that'll take a few weeks, probably about a month, maybe less, at least 2 weeks. I would assume we could probably be maybe a week per chapter. So I'm assuming a month. So there's a lot of code examples in there. Some of those chapters are quite long. We're almost done. So we're gonna get into some good topics here, like expert stuff, like to make you expert programmers, coders. Arrays are always good skills to know. Databases we haven't talked about too much, so might get a little bit of SQL in there. So anyways, thanks for watching, guys. If you guys want to see the rest of the tutorial, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.